Yeah, okay, yeah, thanks.
We were talking capital. No, we're good.
Is it RHID yet?
Which one?
The one that was on the assessed valuation that you guys read about.
You got all of them that affect the county. You have 2 in Abilene and 1 in Harrington.
Okay.
Big portion, there's on some Bell Heights out here. Yeah,
Is it a normal?
So that's about.
It's
so
about average.
we haven't had a lot of RHIDs in the past. They're only kind of new, so most of these kind of pop. You can look at is the tax base prior to was not really worth
Right, and I know, yeah, I know how they operate. I just was curious how they.
no tax on top of that.
We
So
had one
So
for
when does the one at like Golden Belt end?
20 years, 25 years.
Well, so that's the maximum, but it actually, it's only in place.
I had two people
the, debt service that they,
in 1 week say you do a great job.
which was like $2.5 million when they
We're even together.
So hopefully it gets paid off, because depending on how many properties develop out there, they'll collect that sooner. And so if they can pay off that debt, then it'll come back to the county. So we do have to kind of keep an eye on like how much they still owe. We make sure we get that switched over someday, because it could be 5 years, it
Oh,
could be
yeah.
20 years, but maximum would be like the 20 to 25. Also happen in 7 or 8 years. So
I did get one other comment
start to see the benefit.
from Megan. And she said her dad really works because he enjoys it, and we really don't need to pay him. He doesn't even need the money.
Well, there you go.
And if we have to make a cut.
Here's my savings for the next year.
Yeah.
I work for free.
So I don't know what he did to his daughter to stir it up.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and kick us off. Good morning, everybody.
And then
Questionnaire, sorry to start right away. First order, we got to talk about MOU for Grant Township, utilize the county fuel station. I assume this is in short order, the same idea that we've been doing on the other two that we've already done. And just to review it, and I don't know if you know or remember, but for the public too, this is where we're co-oping with some townships and fire districts and even some cities on fuel. And so we share the fuel costs and hopefully get a better fuel price.
And it's covered in here, and it's obvious that it would be, but just so the public knows, you know, it's not something where someone could just go in there and fuel up a car or something else. I mean, there's cameras, you have to, well, you might mention the process, but I mean, there's some protocols and
Yeah, everybody has to
Safeguards.
use a firm key and a ID number. So we recognize what vehicle and what person.
Mhm.
That's it.
and the time of day and everything. I mean, so it's
It helps them a lot.
very controlled. But also, you really know what groups are using the fuel too for billing purposes.
So this is available to all the townships can do this?
Yes, it is available. They have to get an MOU with this, but when we did it, we offered it to any and all of them,
Right.
you know, realizing some of them guys at that time were, you know, had a 200-gallon tank or 100-gallon tank.
Right.
And we told them, buy and fill it at the pumps. And Grant Township was really the only one that jumped on board. Has been on board ever since.
Right. I did have, am I stepping out of it?
Go ahead, Ron.
On the Grant Township Fire Department, the fuel will only be for highway use. Am I reading this wrong? The fuel that they'll be getting uh, will be the only use for
You're on the second page and
right here.
down at the very bottom.
Yeah.
So it's the last bullet point on the second page.
Yeah.
It says, Grand Fire Department understands that all fuels obtained from the Dickinson County Fuel Station are for highway use only, and non-highway motor fuels are not available.
So, okay, so what we're explaining there is we don't sell red fuel.
Oh, highway
That's
diesel.
what
Non-highway.
they were trying to, there is no off-road fuel involved here. You know, but we get the regular fuel cheaper than you can buy off-road fuel anyhow.
Oh, can do you?
Yes.
Because I'm gonna say, that didn't, to me, it
Right.
didn't make sense
You know,
because
because some of them like they could put off-road fuel in just like anybody else and some equipment besides the road.
to be eligible, they're legal.
All the blades, you know, township, their blades or everything is running on clean fuel and no farm fuel, no red. So.
Or so, in addition to the MOU, this would include a 10 cent per gallon administrative fee, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that would
Which
cover.
is very slim. It covers a little bit of the operating costs.
Yeah.
It's really not very much.
And there is some administrative costs that are involved in this. And so I think all the townships and anyone that's,
The little key loans ain't much
yeah,
that we furnish them, so.
if they lose that or has to be reprogrammed, Shiloh handles a lot of that. And so those things do come up. And so it is helpful from the county standpoint to make sure that we're covering all of our costs by having that administrative fee.
And Shiloh puts power into it.
I find it to be a pretty regular thing. We've done a couple others, so. You guys just want to get this handled today?
Well, it's on the agenda and then
Is it on the
we
agenda?
actually have it on two separate motions, one for the,
Oh, we do. I apologize.
And one for the fire department.
one for the fire department. And so is there
That's next week.
needs to be separate motions, I guess, on that,
Yeah, they are two different agreements.
different contracts. So
So we will have you sign
the same.
those if that's approved.
And I did have one more question.
Okay.
Sorry. I got it that you're gonna have an extra fee, a handling fee for that.
Mhm.
But what's the shrinkage? Is that gonna cover the shrinkage too? You all know when you put a gallon of gas in there, you don't always get a gallon back, unfortunately. Does that cover that?
What is the shrinkage? do you
And
think?
I don't know, man, what the shrinkage is on fuel.
But when it's in a large tank, what we have, that's got to be factored in.
Well, I sure would caution you on that. If that was me, I'd be careful because, it does add up.
And we could always adjust next year
Yeah.
or throughout the year if we find some abnormality that's.
I would think we would be able to redo the MOU every year with them. Thought we needed to, I'm here to say that 10 cents doesn't cover what it costs to get them into the pumps. It didn't cover, just like I say, we furnished City Abilene 40 keys at $8 a piece. You'll see what we get from them at the end of each month or at the end of the year. It won't cover anything, but it does soften the blow is what it does for us. But being tax entities, we're, it's all getting a little out. But what we're gaining is buying power and how much fuel will go through. City Abilene has hit off they've hit on all cylinders getting fuel over there. And I have to say, your city police drive around a lot. They burn a lot of fuel.
So do they pay for the keys or we're paying for the keys?
We picked up the key price and after we're done, we're gonna see if we can invoice. Yes. Really, we told them what the cost was up front, but we haven't invoiced it yet.
Yeah, and that's something I think we could probably, I think they'd all be on board with us implementing a fee, just a key fee individually.
With how the operation.
Because this was a pretty big
Easy
benefit.
Access 24 hours a day for them, for the police and so forth, and they're quite happy everybody, I think we had a couple key problems that we had to reprogram, but it went over very well, as many as they had, so.
And for tracking purposes for the city of Abilene, I know this was a major improvement for them because I think they were still tracking, logging mostly on paper, I believe, prior to this. And
They were
so,
writing it on a clipboard.
so this is really helping them. I think that they're going to see some benefits from it as well. So I'm sure if we needed to implement some additional charges to make sure we were covering all of our costs, because that's what we want to look at, is that we don't want it to cost the county. We just want to make, and we're not trying to make money off the cities or the townships either. We just want to make sure that we're covered and that we're trying to offer the taxpayers in a way of benefit to the cost of fuel, just another thing that they have to pay for, that we're trying to be more efficient with.
And so I also see though, that you're going to sell the fuel as the price that you bought it for. Because the price changes often. So you're not going to be doing with the price setting.
The price is changing about every
But
5
you
to 6
use-
weeks.
Right, but you sell it for what it cost you at the time. And then when,
Tank cost, yeah.
okay, so there's no price setting going on.
No, we set the price when we get our bid.
Okay.
So it was $2 a gallon, then we set it at $2.10 for them. That's all we're doing. Yes, and Shiloh adjusts the cost every tanker that comes.
Good job.
Because when we order a tanker, we are already down to the bottom of the tank. So, you know, it's not like the price goes down and we're selling high dollar fuel cheaper.
Yeah.
You know, we're down where we need to have fuel, we adjust the price.
How much fuel do we use a year, Martin?
Well, it was every 8 weeks we were getting a tanker. And now we're down to about 4 or 5 weeks, 5 weeks.
How big's the tank?
I can't tell you off the top of my head, $220,000 a year.
Okay. A lot of fuel.
Something like that.
That's really what I was asking. How much fuel we burning through? What does it take to run the county?
We have our budget up at 275 when the gas hit $5, $6 years back. And we have cut that back down some, but it's still over $200,000 we need to purchase every year. Right at that. If things are going the right direction, we're going to be paying $1.60.
There were a lot of news cycles about that, I think, the last few days.
We're going to open that all up one way or another. There you go.
Okay.
And one more question.
Yeah.
Dumb question, excuse me. You're selling the fuel, and it's diesel fuel or gas, correct?
Both.
Do you sell the DEF for the diesel?
Oh, we have DEF, yes. And if they want it, we'll sell them the DEF too. I believe the city and most of them have their own DEF
Okay,
and haven't bought DEF from us yet. But yeah, we have a pump on our DEF too. We would sell it at what we get it for. But most of them already have a DEF set up.
so that's it.
They sell mostly to the ambulances, you know, Johnson.
I'm giggling. Maybe Trump will get rid of that too.
We're hoping, yeah. I still don't see the benefit of it.
When that first came out, we went into crawl mode in our 2500 pulling a trailer. I have never been more angry in my entire life. Put me down to a crawl in the interstate. Oh my God.
Yeah, we have been riding the middle of asphalt.
Don't mess around with it.
And the dump truck had to stop and regen. And yes,
It pushed us down to like 15 miles and then we couldn't get up the on ramp because it wouldn't have enough power.
I mean, in all rights, that is why we still are trying to buy non-deaf pulling tractors for our equipment. You know, so when you're pulling that low boy with excavator, you don't get hung out. Yeah. But that's getting very hard to find them to keep buying them without the deaf, so. Getting fewer and farther in between. So.
A lot of tier 3 motor irrigation engines out there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I don't think they're running tier 4 out there in the irrigation land. Okay. Any more questions, commissioners? Thank you, Martin.
Thanks for your work on it.
And then we also have the Your capital improvement plan on there, if you want to review that.
Yeah, we could go ahead and start in on the capital improvement plan. So it's still a bit of a work in progress. We have had a significant transition year this year. We just transitioned to that fleet management program with Enterprise. I know you've seen the invoices coming throughout the year. So a lot of the ordering went into effect as soon as that contract was approved. And so obviously that takes time. So some vehicles came in within, 60 days, some were going to be in 90 days, and then we have some that still haven't arrived quite yet. So as that's shifted through the year, in the capital plan this year, I went ahead and tried to highlight the Enterprise vehicles that we have there in green. So you can kind of see that on that printout that I provided you. And I think there is one, Ron, like separated by itself. If you want to look at it, it's probably a little bit larger than the one that's included there. So for 2027, this year, we went back to the departments and really looked at what we needed for 2027. Billy and Martin looked really close at all their equipment, anything that had been planned, and they do this every year, and just reevaluated the condition, what type of shape it's in, if we can get 3 or 4 more years out of it, and they evaluated in that standpoint. So at this point, we actually were able to lower significantly what we would be purchasing in 2027, and we'll continue to reevaluate that in the years coming. But just to start on page 1 here, the way we have this broken down, because there is ultimately on our capital plan, we have about 6 different funds that pay for certain items depending on what department and what fund it comes from. So the equipment reserve fund, that covers most of our equipment that's in the general fund. So that will be sheriff, administration, any, the EMS, all of those are covered under the equipment reserve. So when we look at sheriff's vehicles, ambulances, we have to help fund that through the equipment reserve. That is something that typically would be funded through a general fund transfer. In 2026, we have $450,000 budgeted to be transferred into the equipment reserve, and that was put in place to help with some of the ambulance purchases that are coming up. When it gets to equipment, sometimes it can be a little confusing because it takes so long for some of these to come in. We actually, back in 2024, the commission reviewed and approved the purchase of these ambulances, but that was just putting it into place so that they could start to be built. So now we're kind of, after we were working through this budget, we originally had down to purchase 1 ambulance at the end of 2026 and another one in the beginning of 2027 to cover that over 2 budget years. After reevaluating the mileage and the hours and the condition of the ambulances, John reviewed that contract, called the vendor that we submitted that order with, and we were able to, we're still going to purchase 1 ambulance, but we're going to be able to hold back the second one until 2028. So there will not be an ambulance purchase in 2027. But with that being said, he does, and they may have touched on with you last week on ambulance. I'm not sure if they did or not, but it's looking like we're going to still need to complete the purchase of 1 of those just based on the agreement to purchase in 2026. And that'll come out of our equipment reserve fund. So that is calculated into our purchases for 26 and 27. So on this first page, I'll kind of work down. We have been setting aside some money. That doesn't mean we're just going to spend that, but for computer replacement schedule, and I think that was pretty aggressive. It was in at about $40,000. I think that's something that I can still talk to Dustin about, because we may be able to limit that down for those future years, because we have been able to replace quite a bit of the computers and get some updates now. So I don't think that will be coming in at that number. The aerial photography, that is a contract that we have a company come in and fly and do the aerials for our GIS. And that gives very accurate data for our appraisals around the county. It helps to pick up any additional buildings. If someone did failed to get a building permit or something of that nature, didn't realize they needed to. It does help the appraiser's office to be able to keep up to date on that type of information. Then when we get below that, you'll see a few highlighted in green. Those are the items that went into the enterprise fleet management program. So there will be a Chevy Traverse, Chevy Silverado. There are 2 Chevy Silverados and 2 Chevy Traverses, actually, because we have the one of the Silverados is for the appraiser's office, and they do get into some areas in the country where they need to be a little bit higher up, and so some of those, the Equinoxes, were not quite working. So we got 1 smaller SUV and 1 truck for them. So with the way that program works, and I think this is something where I know it's been questioned a little bit through the public. This program so far, I've been really happy with the results we've received, although it looks like a large payment each month. When in past history, if you look at saving up and you're spending $55,000 to $60,000 for a sheriff's vehicle, and you need to buy 3 or 4 of those in a year, it easily came up to somewhere around $220,000 per year for just replacement sheriff's vehicles. We are now able to purchase with this equity lease program, which just kind of for the public, it's not like a lease that you can go and sign up for yourself. This is a lease program where we actually will receive credit for the equity at the end of the program. So, for example, in one of these, like let's say on the highway department, you were talking about the 2500s that they have. So if they're on a 36-month lease and they do cost roughly $12,000 a year, you could it'll cost about $36,000 for those 3 years, which sounds like a lot of money. But at the end of that lease, so that's a 3-year-old vehicle, we will turn that vehicle back into enterprise. They will apply a credit for what they sell that vehicle to as an equity applied to that. And so if we receive, say, $30,000 back for that vehicle, and I would assume it may be even higher than that at that point, then that vehicle's only cost you roughly that $6,000 over those 3 years. So it brings down your cost per year of your vehicle significantly. We're also seeing a significant decrease in our maintenance already. I think that's going to help us from a mechanic standpoint. It's going to help us from just keeping vehicles on the road. Most of these vehicles now will be rotating out anywhere between 36 and 60 months, depending on the type of vehicle it is. And so I am anticipating we're going to see some significant benefits from this program. So for this first year, we're also applying, although we're not receiving the equity because we own the vehicles at this time, as we sell those vehicles, that's applied back to the capital reserve or the equipment reserve as well. And so all of the funds that come from the sale of that equipment will in reality be applied to the payments as well. So at this point, we've already sold roughly about $100,000 worth of vehicles through our first Purple Wave auction, and that's just going to go back against any of the cost of implementing this program. So by years 3 and 4, I expect to see some significant financial gains, and it's really improved our fleet management as a whole. The sheriff's department even had so much confidence in this, they've been able to reduce 3 vehicles out of their fleet that in the past, getting a vehicle replaced would have been so challenging, they might have hung on to those cars. And now with this, they're able to reduce their fleet, and it is improving our efficiency so far. So I've been happy with the program in year 1 and looking forward to seeing how this can benefit the county moving forward. So I wanted to touch on that first, since there's a lot of green on there since we're moving to that program, and there's quite a few fleet vehicles. So going back, so out of the admin, IT, and appraisers department, right now we have kind of plugged in for those numbers about $183,000 on page 1 for 2027 to be spent. Then when we roll into page 2, that's where you'll get into EMS. And so you'll see the ambulances. We currently have 5 ambulances, and we rotate those through on those purchases. That's why we have to be a little careful. You can hold back, but you don't want to ever push it back to where you're buying multiple ambulances at a time, because they will cost you anywhere from about $350,000 to $260,000, depending on if you're buying a complete truck or if you're just remounting. Because sometimes, like the one that says $266,000, we will just be remounting the box onto the new chassis on that one. So as you can see, in 2027, not a lot of purchases planned after we get past this ambulance in 2026. So for EMS, we have about $46,000, and that's just to finish up with some ventilators that were being purchased, and then the enterprise fleet for the 2 vehicles for EMS.
Okay.
Then we roll into page 3. That's when you'll get into the sheriff's department. Here, this is one that's going to, I still have to work with Jeff to get a few updates on that. The majority of the sheriff's department now has shifted to that enterprise fleet program. They're not all on it yet, because depending on if you saw, some of these vehicles are 2024, 2025 vehicles that were purchased, and obviously they're not ready to enter the program yet. So they'll wait 3 or 4 years before they are ready to rotate out. But they're technically in the program, but it'll be 3 or 4 years down the road before those are replaced. So as you see the green on that sheet, that kind of shows when a rough estimate of when those vehicles might be replaced, but we'll be tracking those miles with the enterprise team, and we'll keep you posted and keep that updated as we move forward in the year. So overall, that actually completes the equipment.
What is real quick on the jail and the sheriff, or sheriff anyway? What does the asset forfeiture mean when you have that in the?
So that's saying that those are going to be paid out of the asset forfeiture fund. So there are certain stipulations for vehicles that can be done for that. And so if it's a certain type of drug enforcement and things of that nature, we can actually pay for a couple of those vehicles as long as their primary duty is for that. So it can't cover all sheriff's vehicles, but it can help to cover a couple of the vehicles in there.
Okay.
And Marcus, just for situation awareness for all of us, on the police department and their cruisers and stuff they're buying, are those pieces of equipment, are they bought with the intended use of what they're designed for? In other words, is equipment bought for what it's supposed to be used for?
I believe so. Yes.
We mentioned police departments, so you're talking.
Yeah, but you're talking
Sheriff
sheriff
department.
vehicles.
You aren't talking cities.
No, I'm sorry, I'm police and sheriff.
And they don't all,
Thanks for correcting me.
not all of these vehicles are equipped with, say, cages and all the same lights, computer equipment, and all of that. The patrol vehicles are, and those are the ones that are listed as interceptors. There are some, and I am going to go back through and verify a couple more of the current fleet to make sure which ones we're going to be replacing.
We also asked, sorry to interrupt you. I asked, I think you're here. We asked the sheriff how it was going. He thought it was going fine.
The reason I ask is in a lawsuit deal, they're going to ask, is that first piece of equipment you're using, was it used for its intentional use? And if it's not, then we're going to be in trouble. Just a heads up. I've been through this one time at a time. So
I see.
are you buying a piece of equipment for its intentional use?
Yes.
What it's designed to do? That's what we'll ask. Okay. Okay.
No problem. And so really that shows the sheriff and jail. Looks like right now we have for this year somewhere around $134,000 that we're anticipating spend for 2027. And most of that's going to be getting into that enterprise fleet vehicle. Now those, just so you know, because they are equipped, those will typically be in that longer, in the program longer than some of these other vehicles because they have that equipment. So we want to make sure that you get a full number of years on that. Hopefully, if we can continue with the same type of vehicle and there's not too many adjustments to it from the manufacturers, it'd be nice to be able to reuse some of that equipment, but there's not a guarantee on that, which is pretty similar to what we were working with in the past, even if we were purchasing it ourselves. Sometimes you were able to take that equipment and shift it over to the next car. Other times we had to purchase new, and it does cost close to $10,000 to outfit one of these interceptors. So it's not cheap when you do that, and so that's why they want to get 4 to 5 years out of those, and then hopefully we're able to reuse some of that equipment moving forward. And sometimes the cages, just depending on what they do with the body style, could require an adjustment. But overall, I will say that this helps us so there's not a lot of big surprises. We don't have years where all of a sudden we have 4 cars that have significant issues that need to be replaced at one time. So we're not getting those peaks and valleys of large equipment costs coming at us now that we moved to that fleet management program. The next page, we'll be moving on to the highway department. So this is funded not through the equipment reserve. This is actually funded through the special highway fund, which it comes from a transfer from the highway fund in order to make sure that we have enough set aside for equipment. So this is what all of these we kind of talk as a portion of our reserve. So we have our general fund reserve, then we also have some reserves set aside for equipment, because when we have equipment breakdown, unfortunately it's very expensive. And so especially when you get into highway, as you'll see some of these numbers on here, we shift them out a year, but that doesn't mean necessarily that they're all going to get purchased in 2028. It just means that right now we're not planning to purchase that in 27, but we know they're kind of on the radar. So they're inching forward. We're going to continue to reevaluate those each year, look at the condition of them, look at the shape, and we're going to get as many years as we can out of a piece of equipment. But there are times where it has to be replaced. Martin and Billy both did a really nice job of really making sure that our equipment is in good condition. We're able to get more years out of it. I'll just kind of touch base on some of the items that they felt like were not able to be pushed out any forward or further. For one, the message board, as you talked about last week, that is something that we do want to get in front of you, and that's why they brought that to you last week, and that we're hoping to get approved today. I will tell you that I did put in a couple extra quotes in there that Martin had received. They actually had received 2 or 3 additional quotes, and they were all higher than the one that was presented to you last week. About 21,000.
Yeah, those was 21,450.
Just for the department heads in the room, I'm just going to give you a heads up. We're not really doing the department head meeting, but you're welcome to enjoy the conversation. So I'm glad you're here. Okay, just making sure. I saw him like, wait a minute. Yeah. And then also another item. Right now we still have an international sign truck. Did you want to touch on that at all?
The sign truck is our go out in the middle of the night, replace signs, obviously. It takes more wear and tear than either one. Our welding truck was up first, but that sign truck seems to be newer, but it is went through the ringer over the years. And I really think we should replace that in 27. We're going to have a major repair on the manifolds and the whole exhaust system, and it needs to go before it becomes a bigger cost than what it's worth to us. It's highly important, and when you look at my equipment, you think the same identical truck, the welding truck on the bridge crew, is 8 years older. It ought to be the one. But we look at the welding truck as we can get it to the bridge, and all it has to do is sit there and support the welders and all that. But the sign truck has to be able to get up and go in the middle of the night every night or all through the year. And we just wore it out. So I don't.
And that sign truck.
The next repair is going to be a big. Yeah.
I'm not suggesting this. I'm surprised we don't have a welder on all your.
We do, but your welding truck can carry beams, steel.
Oh, okay,
because
gotcha.
it's a it's a 1.5 ton truck.
Gotcha.
We will have 2 1.5 tons. So sign truck, and the sign trucks especially, and the extra cost is the auger, the boom, so we can drill holes and and lift the signs and stuff.
I got you.
And it has a main carriage on the front that slides out sideways, so you can get to the top of the sign.
It's got a side boom, you said?
The outside on it too. So, and you know, with the outrigger system and the pole with the welding truck, it looks like heck, but I think we can keep it running 4, 5, 6 more years. So, yeah. But everything else, though, I gotta say, we did move. If you look at the old chart, we took everything out of this year except for the signboard and moved it. And next year I've moved everything except for that sign truck. And that's all I'm asking for this time. Everything else we're gonna make run along.
That sign truck is a 2008, just
Yeah.
snow too. So by next year, that'll be 19 years old. So it's got
So,
a good number of years out of it. So I did have, I don't know if that was a more of a question mark or not on that semi truck that I'm
the
showing.
semi, we want
One,
to keep in there for winter.
I just still think it's going
At
down.
least one of them. I'll have it in the next year, because all our semis were used when we bought them, and we use them every day. And you know, at one point, one of them 4 semis is not making it through the year. Could be either one of the Volvos, could be the International, you know. I mean, we keep them up, and if I don't need it next year, I can bump it out. I would, you know, we like to keep, you gotta about keep one in there in case we lose one, or God forbid a wreck or anything else. You gotta keep one in there.
So that's really not that's more for
I'm not-
planning purposes in
I'm not
case
saying
one
I'm
goes
going
down.
by it.
Yeah. We want to make sure that we're prepared financially to know that it's on the radar and it could pop up any day. It's a 2007 semi, and we're going to try to get as many years as we can out of it, but it's on the radar. There's one of these days it's going to be replaced.
Most of our semis were out bouncing down the gravel. You know,
Makes
they're not just falling apart. You know, we had one that had no dash in it when we sold it. You know, they just kept.
Where my brain went, I was actually thinking about is I wonder if semis prices are down right now, fuel being so high. Are they up? Really?
Not too bad. I mean.
The used market?
I mean, the used market's not terrible. The problem is they're going fast. And, you know, that's the other.
I know trailers haven't come
To buy
down.
used one is because if we get with you quick and there's one out there that's the right one, you know, you can pick it up. But it would be most definitely a waste to buy a new semi ever to run up and down gravel road.
I'm going to agree with you
We
there.
don't want to do one. We never have.
We do kind of the same idea because we pick equipment up in the field.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's same idea, no different than a grain
Yeah,
truck. So.
same thing. Yeah, I think Billy, we think we can keep everything running. I don't know. You can see what we moved over for the next couple of years, but we're trying to stretch it out as far as possible. So defer it down the road.
Okay. Thank you.
So overall, including the sign truck and just with the number in there for the semi truck, not saying that we'd spend that, we're somewhere around that $227,000 to $327,000 that we're anticipating for the highway department, depending on if we would have to purchase a semi or not. So and that's what we're looking at out of the special highway equipment. Moving down to page 5, this kind of gets into a few of the smaller funds that don't have nearly as much equipment. Environmental services, that's one that it's being left blank right now because most of this equipment, there's a lot of changes that could have to come with environmental services, and the funding at that point, it's going to be a big discussion. So depending on what changes and what happens with our contract currently with Hams or Martin Marietta.
Republic.
Sorry, one of those. With Republic, we're going to have to continue those conversations moving forward. So when we get more information from them, we're going to try to stay on top of this, keep our plans so we have something ready. But at that time, we're going to have to look at certain financial avenues because it's going to be probably a significant expense if we're forced to make a change there. Hopefully the contract comes in reasonable and that'll work for us for the short-term future. The capital outlay fund, there's not much in the capital expense fund. We use that typically for our facilities and building maintenance, things that come up. When the hailstorm hit, that's where the claim was. We took the claim that we received from K-Camp and put it into that fund. That's how we paid out for the roof damages or any of those damages that have come through for the hail over the last year. Right now, I don't have any anticipated expense out of that. If there were going to be some expense there, I would assume it's because of another potential weather event, which we would be reaching out to our insurance company in that instance anyway. So I don't have necessarily a lot of funds set aside there. We do have some future planning. At some point, the EMS station, there is some issues with the concrete in the parking lot there. I just don't think it's realistic that we're able to fund that at this time. So it's something that we're going to look forward to in the future. There's been discussions about expanding the courthouse parking lot over the years. And that's another thing that at this time, I just don't think is a priority unless you guys tell me differently. But I think for now, it seems to be
How do
working.
we come up with some of these outlays? A good example, restroom at Sterile Hall. Yeah, that's
So,
gonna be a big fat no for me.
yeah,
The restroom works just fine.
and in reality, I think that was added probably when the restrooms were
Okay.
put on a number of years
I don't know
ago.
if we have like a committee for outlay or.
No, and
These ideas.
in reality, I should probably just pull that off. I think it was listed on here. My guess is,
Yeah.
I think there was ARPA funds maybe or something that it helped. Maybe it wasn't ARPA, but there was some funding I think that came in probably when those bathrooms, there was an addition added to Sterile Hall, and it was prior to me coming to the county. And Janelle, I'm sure could tell you right off the top of her head, but
Mine
my
just got left on.
assumption it got added there, but it's not an ongoing.
Until we did that addition, we did need something done, and I think we're okay now.
I guess where I'm leading that conversation is outlays. Really pretty heavily a commissioner role.
Yeah.
To decide what outlay plan we're gonna go off of. Now, highway, road and bridge, I get that, that's different. Needs to be more department, but when it comes to the building and assets, I feel like that is a commission role.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's,
The-
and the items that are on there are really probably just to keep it on your radar to know that we've addressed that those were talked about at one point. And if you ever want to make them a higher priority, you're welcome to. And if you ever think of anything building related, pass it on to me because I can add that anytime throughout the year to this, and we can adjust any of those. So that would be.
I think sometime it'd be nice to go look at the EMS station. I'd like to do that and you guys show me what you guys are seeing. I know we're talking about 29, but it's gonna be here before you know it.
The parking lot situation though, I mean, that's been deteriorating and
I know, but if
kind
we're,
of pushed back.
I guess where I'm going with that is, I don't think we should approve an outlay unless we literally go look at it
Mhm.
and decide, okay, this warrants us rebuilding it.
And we did look at that, it's just that it was
Yeah.
pretty complicated and the engineering involved because water running underneath.
No, and I get it, I'm
It
sure.
need-
I just want to
needs
see it.
leaks, it needs pipe under, and you could have the parking lot for tons of years at that point.
Okay,
The reason the parking lot concrete fails is because of the spring that's underneath. Because we have water coming out and running down the road every year. And we thought it was the city leak.
when did we build that?
It's a spring up there, believe it or not.
When did we build it?
When,
Yeah, when did we build wasn't it like last 10 years?
I don't remember the year.
Or was it longer than that?
Oh, longer than that.
Yeah, it's been up there longer than that.
Never mind.
John Old and Sheila Biggs were on the commission.
How many it was in 10 years we could call the general contractor or
Probably
something?
25 years.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're beyond the.
You know, the limitations,
Limits there.
limitations there. Okay,
Yeah, and
I
even,
just saw the restroom thing and I go, I don't know if that's where you're trying to lead us, but we're not going down that
yeah,
path.
no,
That's where this whole conversation came.
I'm actually just-
Everyone knows.
That would probably get a lot.
I'm crossing that one off, and I was actually gonna just go ahead and cross off even the Harrington EMS and the carpeted EMS station one. So there was a couple of things on there
I was
that
gonna comment
just
on that
carried
one,
over.
but I was gonna.
I'm like, I think those can all just be cleared off. I don't think.
Well, that, and we went and looked at EMS. I mean, he's got pretty good carpet, man. Like curious where he needs carpet.
He probably has good carpet because
You can eat off that floor. I don't know if you guys have been in that building, but it is
he actually,
Say no thanks.
perfectly clean.
I might even in the actual ambulance garage, they keep that so clean
Oh,
that
it's
I
so
might
clean.
still just sit down and eat there too. Because I'm gonna just tell you
Oh, yeah,
guys,
they
he
keep it
keeps a
clean.
very clean building. So
I don't know how he does it.
yeah, they do a nice job. The
Get off my soapbox.
next fund underneath here is the Register of Deeds Tech Fund. That's just listed because it's just another separate fund where those are fees that come in specifically for Register of Deeds Tech. Right now, the thing that we pay out of that is for the part-time position. And so we were able to cover that out. So that's why there's nothing really listed there for expenses because this isn't covering or a place to put a part-time position on there. Then we do have the health does have their own capital fund as well, the health department. And these are all just statutory related, what can be funded through certain sources. And since the health department is not under the general fund, they do have their own capital fund. And that historically, right now, the only thing that really consistently is planning to be on there is the enterprise fleet management vehicle that they have for the health department. There's one vehicle there. And so that would be long-term planning on it. And right now, there was an item for 2026 where he did talk about some carpets.
I know, this is-
Yeah. I think it got moved in there because it sounded like he had Wick pay for a portion of that, but that was already taken care of. So then the final department is the Noxious Weed Capital Fund. And that is all of those come from the Noxious Weed Fund and then is transferred into the Noxious Weed Capital Outlay Fund. And in there we have spray trucks, the multiple trucks that go out and help to spray weeds, to also they help with the mowing. So we have mowing tractors. And right now you're reevaluating the mowing tractors
The
right now.
tractors are starting to get some age, but
So that's,
now working on a depth problem this morning,
Right
and
now.
got it fixed. Yeah, they're not bad looking tractors yet.
yeah. So those are in the same
They're also
position.
holding up exceptionally well, so we're hanging in there.
So those are similar to the
Expensive
semi.
noxious weeds, I'd like you to think about, if I hadn't brought up, is a generator out
Mhm.
there. And so that place during an ice storm, flood, whatever, tornado, we still have power out there. And it's, when we had the one tornado that went clear across the county,
What are you running on it?
okay, if we put in a meter, we'd run the office building and the scale house. And so tickets, we got a little generator so we could run the laptop and print a ticket, a couple hours.
I guess what I'm asking, how much draw do you need?
I'd like to see the HHW building, the office building, and the Knox's fleet. The problem you had if it went out during an ice storm, and I purchased $400,000 worth of chemical, and I freeze it, and it's out a long time, there could be a problem there. So it would also help me protect the product that I'm hoping to buy, and put in that warehouse. So
I guess
some of it can freeze, some of it can't,
What I'm asking is, how big a generator do you need?
We got 3-4 electric companies sizing it up for us
Okay,
right now.
okay.
Yeah, we're still in the process of getting prices from them and a price from a propane tank and all that. So we're still receiving numbers at this point. Yeah, it's going to cost a little, but that would come out.
There ain't gas out there? Didn't the pipe go right?
Well, there is, but in the generator fact,
You get where I'm going. Let's
Yeah, I
put a
know.
plummet into the gas line. You ain't gonna ever worry about it.
propane,
Yeah. I'm just curious.
It's also either way when you ask them which you think would work better during an outage. And if the gas company's having problems and we still don't have gas, and we burn propane at the other ones, ours down at the shop, it's propane tank. I don't know. I could be talked into either way from the bidders. We're waiting to see. And I believe most of them will say we ought to go propane, instead of propane tank.
I guess you'll come back to us with,
Yes, we're
An idea,
probably still a
proposal.
good month. After you're done with budget to be done, we'll be moved on before we get our numbers, all of them.
okay,
And the noxious weed capital currently has a little over $500,000 in it. So that's where these purchases would come out of. The generator, like you said, we'll hear back from him shortly on that. We did have, those tractors they're right now, they're penciled into that 2026 column, but that's really kind of the same thing as a semi. We just know there's a chance that, a major breakdown could come at some point, and then we'll have to reevaluate that. The costs involved, all of that, those are estimates just based off of what those were purchased for back in 2018. So we're just kind of have some plug numbers in there, knowing that here in the next couple of years, we're going to have to probably consider tractors. So just don't want it to be a surprise when the day comes that we come to talk to you, because there was some damage to a tractor. But if that day comes, we do have the funding in noxious weed to do that.
When do you get rid of the old tractor?
well, you don't want to ask me when we get rid of ours.
No, that's the point. We can run it until it
Yeah,
falls.
we still got a 50-20 strong arm.
Right.
That's a
We can sell it.
50-year-old tractor.
Get something out.
It's perfect.
That's the only choice.
Yeah,
Trying to get something on the purple wave around itself.
one thing to have a yard tractor that you only gotta drive around a 40-acre lot, then there's one if like mowing, like you're going miles. That's a little bit different conversation.
Remember, they put over 600 to 700 miles every year on that tractor.
Yeah.
Each tractor, both of them run that much.
Wonder how many hours you're putting on it.
Don't look at the hours so much as I always calculate by the miles. Got
Yeah.
315 miles and you mow both sides, there's 615, and you mow it 3 times, 4 times a year. And then when we double mow, you pick up another.
A good example is like a boxcar Magnum. I mean, there's boxcar Magnums around 20,000 hours on it.
Yes.
That's about like having 1 million miles on your car. And they're running just fine. 83 Cummins will run forever. Anyway, sorry, I'll get off it. I love the boxcar Magnums. Come back. Oh, we were not at Abbott.
So that pretty well, that actually basically covers all of our capital that we were looking at for 2027. On the final page there, I just kind of give you an idea. With this budget, in order to hold, we're not really building these capital funds back up. We're kind of trying to hold steady and trying to just reduce our costs as much as possible, and trying to just keep things moving forward without purchasing a lot of major purchases in the upcoming years. So it kind of gives you an estimate of roughly where I'm thinking we will end 2027. And so just so you know, on the equipment reserve, it's looking like, based on our current balance and the expenditures coming up, we in 2027 with about a little over $1.4 million there. The special highway fund would have about $1.4 million remaining at the end of 2027 as well. The capital improvement fund would have about $200,000. Register of Deeds Tech is currently somewhere around $68,000, and I'm anticipating that they'd have another $20,000 in revenue and about $20,000 going out for a part-time position, and so staying about that $68,000. The Health Capital Fund has $81,000 in it, not planning any expenditures out of that. And then the noxious weed capital, that could remain anywhere from, we would end that year somewhere around 150 to 300,000, depending on if anything would happen on the tractors. So that's the only thing that we'd be keeping our eyes on, and just making sure that we don't have any major expense there. So, so did you have any questions on the capital fund before that kind of leads into the budget pretty well. Those are all some of the major decisions that help us to get where we're at today for our budget. I do have some copies for you on your computer there, at least. And I also did update some budget pages for you for your expenditures and put them into the binders in the back in case you wanted a hand copy of that. There will be some adjustments to there as I do a lot of work on the state form that I have to, you've got to go back and you've got about 3 different places you got to make sure that you match those numbers at by the end of the budget. So as we make changes each week, I go back in, I update that on the state form, and then I also go back into our software and get that updated to match as well. So right now, here, with what we're proposing, the current budget is coming in at about 48.402 mils. That would put us at just over a 10% reduction in the last 2 years. That would also puts us at a 15% reduction since 2022 in our mill levy. This is something I just want to state that, you know, the county as a whole, I think the county commission and staff, everybody has taken on this challenge, and I will tell you, everyone's working very well with me. Some conversations are harder than others, but we've been doing what we can to try to get to these numbers each year. I wanted to kind of highlight a little bit for where we were at on the mill levy in 2022 was about 56.891 mils. With the mill levy today being projected at 48.421 mils, that's a 15% reduction. If we were based on what the value of a mill is today in our assessed valuation, if we were to still be sitting flat at that 56.891 mils, that'd be about $2.5 million in property tax that we would still be collecting today. So I just want really for the public to understand that's almost a $2.5 million property tax relief that's not there, because not saying that we would have done it, but there's a lot of municipalities and governments that could have just walked that line and kept that mill levy flat. And we have brought that back down. So we're doing what we can. It's not easy because since 2022, inflation has increased by 15%, and we've actually gone in the opposite direction. So I just want to know that we're putting the work in. We get our direction from the commission and from the taxpayers, and we're really trying to do what we can to help with that. So
2.5 million, that was from, you said 2020.
So 2022, we were at 56.891 mils.
I just was gonna make note of that.
Yeah.
22, so I thought that's what you said, but
If we had that same mill levy today, that's a $2.5 million difference. So really that reduction in the mill levy has brought that down by $2.5 million today if we were to have continued. And that's even more significant because that's just this year. If you actually added in 2023, 2024, and 2025 to that number, which I could calculate pretty quickly, but probably not right here in the public meeting, but I would anticipate that somewhere in the $5 to $6 million in property tax relief that's come since 2022 at that peak of 56.891 mils.
sure.
I will just.
I want to say, and we can go through the budget. I want to thank everybody, department heads. Thank you guys. I know it's been a challenge. I'm going to cap it probably with probably not exciting news, but this is going to be a challenge to keep. We did it. That's great. But now we can't eat our reserves to keep it. So I think next year we're not, personally, I'm probably not going to push for a huge cut, but I think it's going to be really hard to not have to go back up. And I think that's what we're going to have to try to do next year, which is keep our tax cut that we put in the last 2 years. And really the last 4 years, technically. So absolutely.
Years ago, we had, the commission saw we had a reserve fund that was pretty large. They wanted to spend it down. They spent it down. We had some things happen. And then we ended up to the point where we had so much drastic cuts that the main hallway lights out here were on different switches. We had every other light turned off just to try to save money. So I kind of want to express to you that cutting is good and we all want to cut, but don't try to cut too much too fast. Maybe cut let everything adjust, and then see where you're at, readjust, and then cut. Did that make sense?
It does.
I mean, because we did it way too fast back then, and I remember we had 100-mile limit on our patrol cars, so if you drive to Harrington and back once, you're pretty much, that's about 70 miles. So you put 100 miles on shift on a patrol car, that's, you're only left with 30 miles left to go. So I don't want to be in the same boat where it took us years to recover from that. I just want to make sure that we're doing it responsibly and in steps.
My goal when I ran for office was 10%. I thought a 10% reduction could be actualized in the county. Getting in here and working with you guys and doing it and working with the commission, it is hard to say the least. I think that he said it pretty well. We're not rebuilding reserve funds right now. That's what's going to happen this year. So to give the reduction this year, we're going to see our reserve funds go down. I'm not saying the general fund reserve, that's not being approached. It's the capital outlay funds and some other stuff. So me personally, I don't know where my fellow commissioners are. I think we're at a good rate right now, and I think we're gonna have to fight to keep it. My goal was to get us below that 50 mil mark. That puts us in the top 20 lowest as far as the county tax rate goes. That doesn't mean every entity together makes us the lowest. And that's kind of what that's where I was trying to lead this conversation. Like, we need to talk to our municipals and towns and cities. I understand everyone's tight. But I also truly believe that we can't be higher than Junction or Saline, because what then is the advantage to move to Dickinson? So that's my message today. Sorry to interrupt us.
Well, my message is this. I come from a simple school. I went to Hope. I would much rather work on concentrating on paying debt off and not starving the people. I'd rather eat. And a lot of that stuff's self-inflicted. When you go into debt, it controls you. It controls every move you make, everything you buy. Let's remove that. Let's get ahead of that. Let's pay our people. Let's take care of our business. But let's concentrate on what we owe. And that's where I would want to focus on. I have seen people in businesses for a number of years learn to turn off the lights, not flush a stool, but every third time, and those kind of silly things. Anybody can do that. We have to use our heads and constructively, mathematically, intelligently do these numbers well. That's what I want to look at, you guys.
You know, one of the things, and I mean, this goes back a few years. We had actually planned on paying more on our bond indebtedness. And then when that money came in from the pipeline, it was used for salaries and staff development and some other things. So, you know, it kind of goes back to that same thing. It sounds easy to say, okay, we're going to do this, but when you actually have to figure out how you do it, because in that instance, we would have had to come up with money from other sources. And so there was kind of a choice that we didn't reduce the debt of that bond. And of course, but I do think we're at a place, and I appreciate what the sheriff said, that, you know, sometimes you have to kind of level off and kind of see where you're at, because there's going to be a lot of variables we're going to face next year. And you can have some unforeseen things happen. And that's why you do have your reserves. But I think we've kind of trimmed the budgets, and the departments and elected officials have stepped up. We've done that in a way. I don't know that the next year you can make that same sort of cut. I mean, we certainly don't want to encourage people to spend more, but I mean, I think you do. Sometimes a plateau is not always that's not necessarily a negative. Now, I did notice on Salina Post today, Saline County, they're going to, it appears, exceed their RNR. And they're gonna have to put that out there, and it's like the second year they've done that. And I think some of the things that people need to keep in mind, and we don't have control over what the city does or the hospital or the schools with their budget, but last year we did have, we were the ones that had the reduction, and then the other main taxing groups increased their budget. So it really, it didn't show up for the taxpayers on their statement when they looked at their total amount. So, there needs to be encouragement, you might say, at all levels to step up and kind of take some of the approach that we're using. But it's always good to look for ways, and it could be that some of the departments and other elected officials might have some ideas they could bring forward, and I know that's what they've done in the past.
Yeah, the appropriations is a good, or outside organizations, I call them appropriations, that's what they are. I thought we did a pretty good cut there, and that was based, heeding off your guys' words. And I just wanted to add one last thing. We've been to KAC, I have been to other counties, and now I look at it through a lens that I've never looked at it from before. And I gotta say, I think we have a really well-run county. We have department heads that communicate with one another. The sheriff, me and the sheriff like each other. That's not even the case sometimes. Yeah, I was being bold there, Jerry. But what I'm saying is we have a group that works together, and I don't want to throw that away either. And I think the community needs to understand how blessed we are that we have departments that talk to each other. I have seen it firsthand. Where the clerk and the commission are sitting there butting heads in the middle of a public meeting. They can't even agree on their budget together. Like, that's
In other counties.
I don't want to diminish what the value we have here either. We got a good county.
And we're faced, and obviously you know that are here in the room, just like households, just like businesses, some of your expenses increase and you really don't have much control over that, insurance. And when we talk about, road and bridge on gravel and the price of asphalt and how many miles we do, I think we're accomplishing a lot. But those aren't fixed costs that are going to stay the same next year. So it's a real challenge. And the evaluation does go up, and, hopefully we get new houses being built. It seems like we've had quite a few, and we have some new businesses, commercial coming in. And so there's a lot of good things happening.
There is.
But it's challenging.
Anything else you want to cover in the budget?
Just real quick, if you're all comfortable with the number that we have here that is under the revenue neutral rate, the only thing I have to really do, since we're not going to be meeting next week, is to let the county clerk, I've just got to give the notification that we intend to stay under the revenue neutral rate. So as long as you're all comfortable with the budget we have in front of you staying under the revenue neutral rate, I will let her know that we do not intend to exceed the revenue neutral rate. And you don't have to sign for that. I think I can just go ahead and sign the sheet and send that to her, but I just want to make sure that you're all comfortable with that, and that'd be their first step. And then we'd start preparing budget documents for the budget hearing.
Need a formal vote, or can we just agree? I guess I'm asking you, do we need a vote on that?
It's only if there's an intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate where affirmative action is required.
That's right.
So the conservation district did reach out and sent an email to me, and we had a cut from 40,000 to 30,000, and they had questioned that as far as, and wanted to point out that some of the funding we give them is also matched by the state.
Mhm.
But, I think at the time, we'd look back at what their budget was a little further back, and that's kind of the basis of that. But is that the number you have factored in on that is 30,000
I
or?
still have 30,000 in on this, for that number at this time. And so you can redirect me on that. And if as long as at this point, we're not necessary, because I haven't published anything yet, I'm just
We can
give
discuss.
her the intent
But
that
you
we're
need-
going to stay under revenue neutral. So we could still make adjustments under there if we need to. So that, if you would like to make a change there, that's still
I
possible.
thought 35. I mean, we've cut others, and so I don't see the merit of, well, I'm not necessarily ready to go back to what they originally asked for, because then we're going to have everybody at the table to use that same approach too.
But I'd like to make a comment though. That's a match. The state will match, and that's bringing revenue into our community. So why give up that extra revenue to our community? And that revenue will go directly to the producers, not the organization itself. They haven't had any money into their organization as far as helping them from us for a long time. So that money we're appropriating to them is directly to conservation, to the producer.
But they do have federal funds and they do have state funds, and maybe it's something we need to research a little bit. I didn't go up there and visit.
Well, I called them.
Well,
I did visit with a few people about it. But if you,
what are you proposing, Ron?
I don't want to see them drop it. I think you're going to have a matching fund situation on your hand. That's bringing capital back to our community and to our producers. And that was an extra $10,000 that the state was going to send out to them.
Okay.
Producers.
When you're at 35.
well, we'd cut some of the other groups. And there are some people that make some of those improvements on their own and they have their, so, I'm not sure how many producers actually use that service.
Well, I mean, 550,000 acres in Dickinson County. I think somebody would use that service.
Mhm.
Is it something we could actually talk about in meeting in 2 weeks?
Yeah, we can continue as long as you're
I'd like a
today.
little more information on it.
Yeah, I think that would be, that's no problem to still discuss that number. And so I think we can make that work because like I said, I don't have to publish quite yet. And so what we'll do is we can look at that in 2 weeks. And then even if we do publish, as long as we're staying underneath the revenue neutral rate at that time. And I think that's our goal ultimately either way.
Either number
we can
would
still make adjustments in
change
there.
already.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. We'll bring it up on our agenda in 2 weeks. If we're gonna miss it.
And that's something we do want. I mean, we did hear back from some of the public on that, and some of the people that move the dirt and, help with some of that, and there are local businesses that are involved, so.
Well, I'll add it to the agenda for 2 weeks and then let's just discuss
And we're
it.
studying,
We
yeah.
can finalize the vote and we'll do
And there's
some agreement.
I was able to confirm the obligation to notify the clerk of the intent is only applicable to exceeding the revenue neutral rate.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
You certainly could if you wish to draw attention to that. You're not, but it's not legally obligated.
Any other discussion items for this morning's study session? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and take a break. We'll resume at 11 a.m. Give a 17-minute break here. Thank you, guys.
So it does go on the so message boards. Remember, I only changed it. Technically.
That's right.
Yeah, so we, I mean, we've been broken this for years.
It's right back there. We all go. Oh,
And it's
so
all,
you got one too.
there's ever. You take
Very,
we don't have.
You usually take a pretty quick lunch after this.
Shake your hand.
If you want it, right after lunch, if you got time.
Okay. Okay.
1 o'clock.
Where
I'll try to get around.
If you get a chance, a
Absolutely.
week
Yeah, no
from
problem.
Saturday,
No problem. I'll see you
we're
then.
having that
Hey,
dedication of the
Arden,
Gold Star
thank you
Monument.
for coming and doing this. I really appreciate it. I really-
Takes place.
I should
That's
stay
what I'm
away.
doing. I got time, you know.
I appreciate it.
They have festivities all day, but it might be kind of handy to,
Is that during the Solomon Festival?
and Solomon Festival's going all day.
No.
So you'll probably be there kind of off and on anyway.
I will be.
But that'd be kind of an opportunity to get out of the car. Plus, they're giving a free breakfast. Sunbelt is, so.
You know,
But it is kind of nice because you can relax and be there. Sometimes when you have a crowd, it's kind of nice to have some.
No. No.
I appreciate that in an open meeting, by the way.
No problem.
What if I want people not to know that I associate with you? You just
Well, I don't know.
blew that out of the water. Yeah, I appreciate that a lot.
See, they could see him, but they couldn't see you.
Yeah, I'm going back here going, oh,
He's got everybody riding back in his car.
No, but seriously though, you guys go to the meetings with me and just sometimes the clerk and the commission don't get along and
Some of them.
sheriff will be in the back piping up saying, well, I ain't know.
Some of the department heads are.
did I pipe up too loud, did I? Yeah, you guys weren't around, but every other light in the hallways, all 3 floors, we had mandates to leave them turned off. To try to save energy. We had mileage restrictions. It was a mess, and it's because they spent down overall in the neighborhood to cut too much. They kind of tried to Sam Brown back us.
Yeah.
So I just want to, I want to do the cuts, but I wonder if we could do it in,
Well, and
I don't know if we can talk Hey, you know,
I shouldn't say, they got a cage fee. They got,
you guys put me on a segue. I'm still gonna do what I do. So
they got you.
we'll figure it out. We may be riding horses by the end of it all, but we're gonna figure it out. I'm not gonna ride a horse.
I just want to go to the horse.
I won't ride a horse. I'm old enough, you have to put me in a buggy, but I'll be.
Got a picture on a horse, so.
Hey, we got people that can make them here.
What about those? What do they call those?
Or something.
I got it. We'll go to motorcycle.
No, they got the ones.
You laugh, but years ago, there was one of our deputies who was trying to convince our sheriff we needed a motorcycle at the sheriff's office.
What was it?
Harley Davidson.
James Hall. Yeah. You know, you go to the resorts, they have them. They calibrate, so balance, you just lean forward and they go forward. Yeah. Yeah. We could practice in the hallway and then.
We get the city on segways. Get us on
I
motorcycle.
don't want to be in the same boat there.
Yeah. We can send very much fun.
Years ago, we had a Mustang, a Ford Mustang for a patrol vehicle.
That's a,
That was the stupidest thing in the world. It was okay on the pavement, but you didn't want to take it down the dirt road.
No,
I think we put 7 transmissions in it.
it wasn't designed for that crap, light duty.
No, just keep rolling forward, gentlemen. We're gonna do what we do. We're gonna be all right.
You're doing fine.
how the vehicles work out.
Very well, actually. I really like it. You guys were talking about capital expenses. Just on the way in here, they were definitely stopped and, you know, there's water coming from the ground out back. And then somebody said, yeah, there's water coming from the ground up front up here. So we got water coming out around back here somewhere.
Back when they poured that footing over here,
We may have some.
you couldn't get the water.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they poured footing in one, they thought they could do.
I wonder if that's gonna be our problem. If it's water seeping up out of, as long as it's not coming out of the building. We probably do.
You know, I mean,
Drain tile.
underwater tiles on.
You know, underground water.
Underground
My
tiles.
sister did that. Her bus basement was flooded, so we jackhammered all the way around and down the middle and put in tile 2 feet deep, and I think it's a couple of weeks. It was only gonna be, it works. And the drain tile works.
10 inches of rain. I mean, any other time of the season, it's kind of. Yeah, it has.
But they just pointed out, hey, we got water coming up back there, water coming up out here.
The one that drives me nuts every flipping day is the grade of the concrete over here on the corner. And right,
Settled in.
it kind of bothers me. It
Just the
just,
way it settled in.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh, every day I look at it, I go, man, how did they not foresee that?
You know, on this gumbo ground, it's hard to build anything on this. That's that EMT station down in Harrington's that way. That floor is sitting on that gumbo and it moves. And so sometimes the doors will work good and sometimes they won't. The ground moves.
Really?
Basically, that's on the ground. Just
Yeah.
go through trying to fix it. We call it injected concrete a number of times.
Anyway, gentlemen, off the record. Dig into some of our.
He does have a budget.
I'm still working on it.
His budget is budget.
Yeah, you can have all of mine. Actually, would you supervise me? Like, I could use that.
All right, keep rolling forward, gentlemen.
Thank you, Jerry. We're adjourned. Quick and fast.
You want me to should move pretty quick?
So many people messaging me this morning.
That's the hard part. Yeah. It doesn't stop.
I told it shut off on me yesterday. I don't know if you guys ever had that happen. It just shut off. It wouldn't, because it wouldn't charge.
I did that the other day, like it died.
Yeah.
Then when I plugged it in, it had 50%.
Well, mine was charged up though. So I was in Manhattan doing some business and I just walked into the office, the place there, and tell them. So she's died. The young lady dressed, I think, she said, "Here, let me see it." She plugs it in, comes right on. I go, but it wasn't dead when I took it in. I'm kind of 3 welfare, I'm a food staff. Okay.
These things you need signed, or do I just?
Oh,
I Department of Defense.
These are gonna be the memory.
all those.
Hey, sir, but I still work. Served in the army, didn't you? No, Department of Defense. I was right with the army. I wasn't in the army.
Oh, really?
I mean, I went to MPC and everything with their soldiers. 20 years of it.
Weapons and stuff?
No advisor. Oh, cool.
Just do both?
I got to go all over the United States. I mean, that's fun.
Just-
Interesting. You ever been to the Mojave Desert down there? No.
That one's, and then there's.
Vegas now? Have you ever been to Vegas? Yeah.
That's what.
But, yeah.
I want to go to the Mojave. I used to, I don't do it anymore. I used to be president of ATV off-road. Oh,
You could drive to you
Now.
and blue in the face.
to go out there and even camp and do.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
yesterday, asleep.
Plane dropped out of the sky. Thought we're gonna land here in a little bit. Flew for 3 hours over the mountains. In a plane, 600 miles an hour. Edge.
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm planning to
Hours, 600.
you, but
Yeah.
kind of wanting to.
Well, just nothing but desert.
Why were you guys doing it?
We had to go for a mission over there.
Stuff last week.
And unfortunately, I was on.
Thank you.
There you are.
Last week.
Here's our MOU.
I think that would be good.
To the extent I can, it's probably telling people what you know, but
Yeah.
it could just be some kind of public.
Mhm.
Better.
Get much rain out your way?
Yeah, I think that'd be
Yeah.
good.
Tiny little spring.
Really? It must have rained for, in the south here about,
I was gonna say, we didn't get anything.
I don't know, I mean,
That,
you had a good
I didn't have anything even show up on the gauge.
quarter inch. So.
Did you get some?
Yeah.
I didn't have anything even show up on the gauge.
Yeah.
We
Afterwards.
got one, we bought Dad one of them,
Running back, oh man, I never called her.
That's
Started talking about it. And I was like, and I thought, oh, I'll bet
Thermometers?
there's probably.
no, it's got an all wind, rain, and it don't even, it don't measure it like a sight glass. It literally measures as it comes in, or I don't,
Yeah, yeah.
but it said nothing.
Wow.
The humidity high.
We got something because my deck is all wet.
The way, kind of hard to stay on top of on that grass.
We give it plenty of time.
That'd be
But
good.
I don't have a rain date.
Those poor grasses. Struggling. Of course, I live in the country, so it's not,
That's nice.
I don't know if it's grass that you'd call grass, but
No, the ticks are bad and the sugars are bad.
I got the stickers out of it, so at least you can follow on it.
You had it here. I don't know.
Right, the stickers are so gosh darn bad.
I think
Yeah, that's-
it didn't seem like.
I don't have any stickers.
I did.
Timbers, cockleburs, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, yeah.
Not in the country. I'm in the country, but not like.
Well, then all this rain, we got water in our retention pond, so now I got mosquitoes.
Yeah, that big.
Big ones.
I've never seen so many flipping mosquitoes.
Big.
It's gotta be one of the worst years I've ever seen. They don't bother me, but they bother my kids a lot.
Yeah.
We got that, we got that retention pond right behind Dad's. I mean, it's 100 feet away. Just a mosquito breeding ground. I haven't looked at the river. Is it still high?
That's
The river's still high.
No, I know that part.
It's good to see that, though. I like the water. Oh, it looks good.
Oh, that's
It's nice to see the river full.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah, it's.
No, not a fan of
Give it to us.
snake. I'd rather just sit back in the chair.
Come on. So.
Much
He
better.
has to mess with it every time. Too.
Well, nice dinner last night.
Plenty of food.
Yeah, it's rich, too.
Yeah,
How was it?
well, it went great. They get a lot of people. They get you through the line quick.
Good.
Kids have their free swim.
Good practice. We're about done now. So close to done.
Counting down the days, are you?
It's just, when it gets hot like this, man, it's hard to want to go to after work, you're just like, ah,
See, this was inside, so it's kind of,
well, that'll be-
you know, it used to be out in the park.
oof.
For Friends of 4-H, you know, 25 years ago or so. And so if,
Are you going to the picnic?
yeah,
Okay. Debbie,
so no, we probably should put that on the calendar.
will be there.
Oh,
That's next weekend, right?
okay. Ron, are you going to that picnic the 19th?
I won't be able to make it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, are you gonna be here then? Aren't you
Well,
leaving?
you're not gonna go.
Well, I'll get back Saturday morning
Oh,
for an event in Solomon. So
Picnic Sunday.
oh, okay.
they're having it's 11.
Go. Call this meeting to order. If we'd all rise for flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All remain standing for prayer. Martin Peterson.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, again, on our 250th anniversary, I give you thanks for those that founded our country and that wrote our Constitution and set up the rules and regulations, Lord. We were founded as a Christian nation, and it has grown and served its purpose well. And we pray that we're straying away from it a little bit. We pray that we can go back more to our Christian roots and more basic principles. But we just thank you for those that serve for our country, for the servicemen that have fought the wars that we can keep our freedom. We thank you for those that are employed here in our county and city, and pray that you would bless them in their work. Heavenly Father, I just thank you for our commissioners and pray that you give them wisdom and decisions that they need to make. Just be with them through your Holy Spirit, guide and direct them. And Lord, we're just so thankful for all the blessings you give us. Thankful that the harvest is pretty well all done. And I didn't hear of any accidents or anything, and that's great, Lord. We just pray that you watch over the people of the community and help them to be ready to go back to school. And then we have the fair coming up, Lord. We just pray a blessing on that, and that it will be well attended and the weather would be nice. Heavenly Father, again, thank you for the blessings you give us and for the gift of your Savior, Jesus Christ. We pray all this now in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Arvin. Into the approval of the agenda. Today, we have Paroline Community Paramedicine Program Agreement. Consideration of purchase of 2 digital signs from Vermac for the Highway, Road and Bridge Department. Consider MOU for Grant Township to utilize fuel, and likewise for Grant Fire Department. And appoint a commissioner to sign payroll, I assume, for next week. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved, seconded. All in favor, say yay.
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 Opposed, nay. I'm gonna change it up. The ayes have it. I was doing I as the same sign. That might get a little confusing like last time, so
Yeah,
you guys are all right with that format?
we'll have to listen.
Okay. Agenda is approved. Moving on to consent agenda. The minutes are provided for the July 2nd meeting in your packets. Accounts payable of $1,069,932.25. Hand check for $162.15. Indigent defense for $11,600. SD security wire for $4,950 and special check for $3. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
So moved.
Second it.
Seconded. All in favor, say yay.
Yay.
Yay. Opposed, nay. Yeas have it. Moving on to commissioner comments and committee reports. I'll kick it off this week. I actually don't have a report. I was not able to attend the the Driving Dickinson County meeting yesterday. I was pulled into a meeting that lasted entirely too long. I had a great 4th of July. I didn't hear of any accidents. I don't think there was anything major going on. So I want to say thank you to everybody for that. And I hope everyone had a great 4th of July. So Lynn?
Okay, last night, Friends of 4-H, they had their annual picnic is at Stroh Hall. 4-Hers were there, all the 4-H groups, parents, those that are working with 4-H, and then Friends of 4-H, just a lot of people from Dickinson County. Anyway, it's a very nice picnic and good to see everybody out there. And then I think the city of Abilene had a free swim for the 4-Hers at 8 o'clock. So they, after they got everything cleaned up, they had that to look forward to. On Saturday, July 18th at the Solomon City Park, there's going to be a dedication for a Gold Star monument. This is part of the 250th project that the county is involved in, and they received one of the grants, but also the Solomon High School FFA they're kind of the lead on that. But they went through the process to visit with the city of Solomon for get approval for a location in the park, and so kind of educated themselves as far as the process. But there's also the Solomon Festival that week. And so the flag raising is at 7:45, and they're having someone come up from McPherson that's going to play taps. Bill Marshall is going to participate and have his American Revolutionary garb or uniform on, and so anyway, it'll be a very nice event. And then the Solomon Festival takes place after that all day long. And so anyway, want to recognize and thank the FFA for having such a worthy project to honor Gold Star families. That's Saturday, the 18th, early morning. Maybe not early morning for some people, but that's all I have.
Thank you, Lynn. Ron?
I did spend some time this week at the Juvenile Detention Center. Things are going well. They're working with that, merging their facility together with Ottawa, so we have enough room. And that's going well. I was very happy last night to see that the southern part of Dickinson County is doing well on their gravel roads. There wasn't that much dust. We did get about a quarter inch of rain. So that settled the dust for just a little bit. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ron. Go ahead and move on. We have no petitions or proclamations today. We'll go ahead and enter a brief period for public comments. If Marcus Rothschild, Assistant County Administrator, read the rules, please.
For the Open Meetings Act, KSA 75-4317 and 75-4318A, as the elected board, the county commission is not allowed to meet or make any decisions without posting the meeting. They are only allowed to act on items on the agenda which they set. During the regular meeting, the county commission may allow for public comments on items not listed on the approved agenda. It is at the discretion of the county commission if they allow comments on agenda items. If you wish to provide comments, please come forward to the podium and state your name and address. If you are online, raise your hand and we will unmute you. State your name and address. Each person may speak for 3 minutes. The allotted time will start after the speaker has given his or her name and address. Public comments shall be addressed to the county commission only and not to the speaker or to the audience. Only the county commission will be permitted to ask the speaker questions. The public comment period is not a back and forth discussion with the county commission. You should make your views and input known to them, but it is not a time to ask them questions. You should not expect them to respond to your comments. Comments may express support or agreement with previous speakers, but in the interest of time, please do not repeat the same information. You may state something to the effect of name and address, and I agree with the previous speaker. It is important to maintain a respectful, non-threatening atmosphere for anyone who would like to speak. Please do not engage in any actions such as cheering, booing, clapping, insults, threats, etc.
Thank you. Any public comments at this time? Don't think we have any public comments at this time. We'll go ahead and move on to the next reports from county officers. Assistant County Administrator Marcus Rothschild.
Thank you. Today, I just wanted to really speak a little bit on some highlights of the budget so far. As we talked in the study session this morning, right now, we are sitting with a budget that's showing about a mill levy of 48.402, which is a 3% reduction to the previous year and about a 10% reduction in the last 2 years, which even brings us to a 15% reduction since 2022. It's been a long process, but very happy and proud of all of the staff and the commission for working together to bring this budget. We will plan for our budget hearing to be held on August 20th, but as conversations go in the upcoming weeks, if we need more time, we could actually publish and hold that at a later time. That's just the earliest date possible, as long as we're fully prepared. Outside of that, I just wanted to mention I happened to be out of town last week, so I did miss the meeting, but I got to travel and drove quite a few miles. And I will say, you know, when you get outside of Dickinson County sometimes, I got to drive into Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, and then on the way back to Oklahoma also and Kansas. And I would really put our county highways up against almost anything that I drove against. So just for every once in a while, it's kind of nice to get out there and see some of those back roads. And I was really, as I drove and I hit a pothole that I swear could be, you know, 3 feet by 20 feet long, and you're just constantly in a pothole. I was pretty proud of the roads that we have. And sometimes I probably take it a little bit for granted, even for how good our highway department does, but it was kind of I was kind of nice to get out there and see some of those side roads and realize that we're doing a pretty good job up here. So that's all I've got.
Absolutely. All right. County Councilor Aaron Martin.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Things are going well in my role, coordinated with Janelle, and we are going to have a 1-hour Kansas Open Meetings Act training session on August 6th, with the time to be determined, but we're going to integrate it into your the front end or the back end of your meeting. And that'll be a public meeting, of course, and any of the county representatives are welcome to attend beyond you all. Other bodies that would be subject to COMA, such as the Planning Commission, are welcome to attend and try to make it so that it's interesting and as entertaining as we can make it. I came over in mid-June to attend a Planning Commission meeting. They were considering among other things, the moratorium resolution that I understand you all considered last week, and then had some preliminary discussion on how to approach data centers. I was not here last week, but Janelle had asked me to give you or to speak for the benefit of you and also the public. Very briefly, just to kind of recap the role of the Planning Commission as it relates to the County Commission. And I'm going to try to do that briefly. And, you know, when I come over, I want to make sure that I can hopefully speak to something that's relevant and either coming up before you soon or a live issue. And so I know the Planning Commission is going to be reconsidering the moratorium that you sent back to them, and that'll presumably be coming back to you in the near future as well. So in the course of all of that, you know, there may be questions from the public or the Planning Commission or others about what are the respective roles between the planning commissioners and this body. And I'm sure I'm telling you what you already know, but the Planning Commission is appointed by the County Commission, and their role is to be a hyper-focused body that is focused solely on land use and making recommendations. They do not have final authority on land use matters. They make recommendations based upon conducting a public hearing. And typically those public hearings are preceded by a public notice, an invitation to members of the public to come, stakeholders can come, and then the Planning Commission studies those issues and makes recommendations. It's an advisory board in that respect, but it's more than just that, because the statutes do require their involvement as the first stop for changes to the zoning regulations, recommendations related to zoning uses or rezoning or conditional uses. So as we get into more technical issues, such as solar projects, wind energy, renewables, their expertise can come in very handy. They can focus solely on that, consult with experts, and then make a recommendation. And of course, you all have 3 options when they make a recommendation to you. You can accept it, reject it, or send it back for further study the first time it comes to you. And this body, the County Commission, ultimately sets the policy and can provide direction to the planning commission. It is totally appropriate to initiate at this level instructions for the planning commission. You can't tell them what to determine or what to recommend, but it is appropriate to tell them that we want you to study data centers, or we want you to reevaluate this moratorium, or study this aspect of the zoning regulations. And that is how a lot of changes come about. They can also self-initiate those studies and make recommendations, whether you initiate it or not. So they're separate roles. And I understand there may have been a question of, can county commissioners go to the planning commission meeting, or should they, or is that best practice? I'm not going to tell you that you legally cannot go. I do think it is best to keep the process clean, let the planning commission fulfill its role, make a recommendation, and then at this level, figure out what to do with that recommendation. There could be Kansas Open Meetings Act implications of more than one county commission member going to a planning commission meeting, because remember, anytime that we have a majority, which would just be two, convening to discuss county business, we have to, we may need to give notice that that's occurring. So if there's more than one of you that's planning to go and interact in your role as a county commissioner, it would probably be helpful to let to Janelle and Marcus and Jennifer know, so we can coordinate that under the Open Meetings Act. But you certainly can go, and there's times where you may have a unique interest other than in your role as a county commissioner. So that would be my recommendation, is just let that process run its course, and then when it gets here, talk about it openly and publicly, what to do with that recommendation. So ultimately, again, you can set the policy by providing direction to the planning commission, or deal with it for the first time when it comes up to you. And then they're the hyper-focused body that studies after consulting with stakeholders and the public at a public hearing. So that's at a high level, the two roles. And I think we'll see that play out, obviously, in the next few months. If that item that you just sent back to them comes back before you. And then at that point, since you've already sent it back, you'll have to presumably make a decision as to whether to reject it or to do something different or accept it. So that's a high level overview of that. I'd be happy to answer any questions beyond those planning items, working with staff on just various items that come up, and I'd say they're going well.
We had an idea get tossed around that, and I think we ought to pursue it, like with the data centers, it being a big topic, and we're getting a lot of emails. I'm sure they're getting texts and calls and emails as well. Could we allow the planning and zoning board to pass their recommendation, hold a town hall, then actually have the meeting where we make the decision? Any breakdown of procedure there? In other words, give the public an opportunity to ask us questions before we actually vote on the policy recommendation.
That would be appropriate. That would be, while we call it a town hall, I think that I would characterize it legally as just a pre-meeting, a pre-open public meeting leading up to what you are organizing yourself for as the final meeting where you act on the planning commission's decision. So when an item comes before you from the planning commission meeting, you don't have to act on it at your first meeting. You can discuss it and have a subsequent meeting. Then
let me reframe that. So we would probably hold that meeting at night after work. So the big complaint we got is nobody can actually attend this meeting because it's at 11 o'clock on Thursday, which is a pretty good reason. They got jobs. So we would probably, I think the thought would be maybe we'd hold a, whatever we want to call it, meeting, Tuesday or Wednesday before the meeting. Take those questions before we actually get into the meeting where it's on the agenda.
Yep. That would be a special meeting, and you can have it when and where you determine if that's of interest, and not required to do so, but if you could structure it at any time of day, and then just internally plan to not take formal binding action at that meeting and to do so subsequently at your regular next Thursday meeting.
That's exactly what it would be. Just comments, concerns, and letting the public have their give their concerns out. Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Go ahead and move on to notices and communications. County Clerk Jennifer Gayton.
Just a reminder, next Tuesday is the close of voter registration. So if you need to register to vote, come to our office. Or you can send it via mail or email. July 15th, next Wednesday, is when early in-person and by mail voting starts at the county clerk's office. And also, if you'd like to view a sample ballot, you can come to our office or visit VoterView online. That's it for me.
Thank you, Jennifer. Moving on to the first order of business today, we have the Paraline Community Paramedicine Program Agreement, which I think you actually brought up last meeting.
Yes. I believe you discussed that last week. That's the agreement for assistance in contract submission for the MIH payments. So that's CIP program that was implemented in the last couple of years with the grant. This would be helping to receive those payments. So did you have any additional questions on that?
Any discussion?
I know Aaron had reviewed the contract, and I think he sounds like they requested a few changes, but openly or overall, it seemed like you're comfortable with the contract after the changes were made. So.
Yes, I worked with John in the last several months, and there was some back and forth, and they accommodated some of our requests and not others, but ultimately, I did not have any outstanding legal concerns with what is presented before you today.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve or deny the Community Paramedicine Program Agreement?
I'd move we go ahead and approve the Paraline Community Paramedicine Program Agreement.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Seconded. All in favor, say yay.
Yay.
Okay.
Opposed, nay. Nays have it. Motion carries. That's how I'm going to try to do it going forward. Get it real clear and concise for the record.
Yeah.
Okay. Next order of business is the consideration of purchase for the 2 digital signs through Vermac. I believe the total amount was 20. What's the total?
34,100. That's for 2. 17,050 a piece.
34,001.
34,100.
We have the consideration of purchase 2 digital signs from Vermac at a total of $34,100 to be used in the Highway, Road, and Bridge Department for bridge, highway, and other announcements throughout the county. Do I have a motion to approve or deny?
Sorry, just to clarify, now that I look on there's a transport fee and a transport surcharge. And so the transport fee is $1,900 and the transport surcharge is $500. So the total is actually $36,500.
Correction. Let me redo that motion. So I would, or I'm not, well, you know what, I move that we approve the consideration of purchase of 2 digital signs from Vermac at a total of $36,500 to be used in the Highway, Road, and Bridge Department.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor, say yay.
Yay.
Yay. Opposed, nay. The yeas have it. Motion carries. Okay, that should cover us there. Next is the consideration of the memorandum of understanding with Grant Township to utilize the county fuel station as we discussed in our study session this morning. Any discussion on that before motion? Do I hear a motion to approve or deny the MOU with Grant Township?
I'll make the motion that we go ahead and follow up on this MOU with Grant Township to utilize the county fuel station.
I'll second it.
Move second. All in favor, say yay.
Yay.
Yay. Opposed, nay. Yeas have it. Motion carries. We will let Grant Township know. On the same idea, MOU for Grant Fire Department to utilize the county fuel station. Do I have a motion to approve that MOU as well?
I'll make that motion for the fire department.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor, say yay.
Yay.
Opposed, nay. The yeas have it. Motion carries. Do we have any nominations to appoint? Next order of business is to appoint a commissioner to sign payroll for a week, next week that we will not have a meeting. Do I have a motion? for
So,
nomination?
so two of us are going to be out of town, so we are not having a regular meeting. So I would go ahead and make the motion that Ron Roller, upon notification from the clerk.
After I said it, I was thinking that we're not even going to be here. So I don't think we have a choice. I'm good.
I really hope Ron signs.
Technically, I will be here Monday and Tuesday, so I could do it. Not an
He's
issue.
not always ready to. So.
Yeah, I figured that. So
So what day you want, a person up here?
Wednesday.
What time?
Anytime.
Okay.
Time after Wednesday.
When she calls, you show up.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
I'll give you a call.
I motion that we appoint Ron Roller.
I made that motion.
Oh, you
already.
did? Okay, I'll second that motion.
You guys.
Any discussion, Ron, or any time about that? All in favor, say yay.
Yay.
Yay, opposed, nay. Yeas have it, motion carries. Any other topics of discussion today, commissioners, that we'd like to bring up before we end?
We did have a book that we received from, it's written by the CEO of the Kansas Health Foundation. Ed O'Malley's done that for a long time. And it's Leading Health, and it appears it was brought to us from the CARES Coalition of Dickinson County. So we have that available to read. So thank you.
Tom Schwartz.
Tom Schwartz for that.
Any other topics? I'd motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I was watching the video.
August 12th, it's not really, that's what we look at.
Sometimes it's a very
You can have one.
controversial, and I think we did this.
As long as you're seated, as long as you have your
Okay.
meeting.
That's a good way to do
And then-
I'll give her a call.
Usually it's there, so-
That's what I-
Do they meet, once a while?
I don't- the person that's different to that, that has to go way ahead of us.
Yeah, they have to.
Did you guys?
it. Try to give it today. My